Welcome back to Energy Discussions. Today we're going to be talking about Superman, and most specifically the new show that just came out, the animated one, My Adventures with Superman. I just watched it. I would suggest everyone watch it because, in my opinion, it is the best Superman content. Probably, well, in my opinion, it's my favorite Superman content. But I would make the case that it is the best Superman character that we've ever gotten.
A lot of people are going to be mad at that statement.
So, but I'm gonna explain why. Because it pulls from every Superman that we've gotten before, right? Whether it's the live-action Christopher Reeves or the what's that guy's name, Henry Cavill, or the classic Justice League / animated series Tim Daly Superman. It pulls something from everything, and that was my problem watching Superman the animated series. Was he didn't have a character. There was no character for Superman. He was just Superman the superhero, and he fought the bad guys, and it's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but I don't need to watch that for 50-something episodes when he has no character development, growth, nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, you have elements taken for everything. Like in Man of Steel, there's the whole, everyone fears him because he's super powerful. Like, what would happen if he just one day decided he didn't want to protect us and he wanted to, take over? Got a little bit of that. Got a little bit of just Superman being a superhero from the animated series. That's just, him being him. And then, from Smallville even, the young Clark trying to just fit in. He doesn't want to be seen as the alien or the weird person that doesn't belong. He's just Clark. All of this stuff they managed to fit in 10 episodes of this new show, which I think is extremely impressive. But what is your, like, what do you think when you think of Superman? What do you want to see in that character?
So honestly, my best interpretation, or the best thing I've seen of Superman, is honestly the speech he gives to Jonathan in Battle of the Super Sons, where he's explaining to him what it's like being Superman. He just says it's all about truth, justice, and the American way. And I don't know about the American way thing, but Superman just being this sort of paragon of, good and being incorruptible, always trying to do the right thing, no matter what. That's what I want to see in Superman. Superman isn't a character that needs to be super dark or one that needs to be in a lot of fights. He's just a character that serves as an example for other people to follow. And I think that's probably why My Adventures with Superman works so well, because Superman isn't the only character there. He's allowed to have a character without having to, have these deep internal struggles or conflicts.
The whole hope thing. He's the hero of hope. The whole thing is symbol of hope, which only works with, this is where Metropolis comes into play, and characters like Lois and Jimmy, which are also in this show, and they are also done extremely well. Probably the best versions of either that I've ever seen as well. So you have all these things working together to show how good it works. He's got to protect Metropolis and these people, and they're looking for someone who can do that, and they want to look up to him. But at the same time, they get just a hint of how powerful he is and what he can do if he wasn't on their side, and then they can also fear him. So it's like they're taking every single part of him and fitting them all into this 10 episodes. And about the 10 episodes, some people might say that that's not enough. It goes by too quickly. It might even be rushed, because they only have 10 episodes to do it.
Yeah.
But I would argue that the 10 episodes is actually the best thing that could have happened to this show, because it forces them to actually get things done, right? It forces them to, progress the story, the characters, and they're not just sitting around for, like you would see on other, like, typical dramas or whatever, where they just, they figure it out the last episode right before the finale, and it's like you've watched, dozens of hours before this.
Yep.
But it's no, they get going, and I don't think it feels rushed. It feels, natural, I guess.
It feels like the show is moving at a good pace while also being interesting, right?
Right, and they're not shoving too much in there either. It's not like they're overwhelming you with every single Superman villain. Like, Lex Luthor is not even in this first season, and it doesn't feel like he's missing. I know a lot of people might, it might be like a deal breaker for him, because it's like, oh, how do you have Superman without Lex Luthor? But I think that goes to show just how good of a character, how good of a job they did with his character here, that he's able to work without his number one villain. And it's like, it's the same thing with, Batman. It's like, you can do Batman without Joker because he's that good. And now I would say I have seen proof that Superman can be that good. And I always had the feeling that he could be this good, but it's just like, I've never seen it, right?
Right.
It's like I had my doubts. I'm like, he just doesn't really work on his own because I've never seen it. And now I can say I have seen it. And so there's no excuse going forward that they can't do things like this again.
Honestly, I think it's doubly impressive that they were able to pull this off, considering the current landscape of like superheroes in general. This seems like a more down-to-earth kind of just group-focused show about a character that's like very popular, but also one that hasn't really been done well recently. And they somehow made one of the best interpretations of him, while all this other, these bad interpretations of superheroes are going on.
See, that's the other thing, is this doesn't make itself into a superhero show. I don't know if they say superhero once. I mean, yeah, that's what he is, but it's like, it's more than that. He's Superman. He's not a superhero. He's Superman. It's just like in the Batman movie, were you thinking, oh, this is just another superhero movie? It's like, no, they did enough on the side, and they dressed it up. They wrote something, and they directed something that didn't feel like a superhero movie, so you didn't think it was, right? It's like that.
Right.
That's what this is. This is just another classic cartoon that just so happened to be super well written and have excellent characters. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else would be on my list, but Superman's definitely a top 10 superhero for me now, if not 5, because I can't think of anyone else that goes in there, right? It's like Batman, Robin, and then probably Green Arrow and maybe Flash. But then it's like, after that, who else? So probably Superman.
No Marvel heroes are on that list.
I mean, the top 2 would probably be like Iron Man and Spider-Man, but we've talked about this before. Marvel heroes don't have the depth that, DC heroes have. And, that could change. Like, I think the classic trilogy of Spider-Man, actually most of the Spider-Man movies, managed to do something.
I mean, having recently seen the original Spider-Man movie,
yeah, but it's at least something. I don't know, but it's like, it's not 10 out of 10 stuff. So it's just, it's just a wait and see. But I mean, I've always been more of a DC guy, and this just shows like I was right. I was right. I chose the winning side, in
the right side of history.
Yeah. So I would, if you haven't seen the show already, I would highly recommend it. I don't think it's hard to call it a service seller. Like, I wouldn't go buy Max just for this show, because 1, Max is so expensive, and 2, this is only like 6 hours in total to get through the whole season, so it's not worth it. But it's like, if you have Max, you're going to get Max for something else, absolutely watch this. Because
basically, if you have Max or you're a big Superman fan, just watch it.
Oh yeah, and I'm curious to see what like longtime Superman fans think, because I saw a review of this show from someone who grew up with animated series, and they were talking about how much they didn't like this one. So I'm really curious to see what people who actually like the original and grew up with it think. But I thought, like, you know, top tier Superman content here is this, Man of Steel, and I don't know, Smallville.
Nothing
I guess maybe a little bit of Smallville. I'm not huge on. I like Smallville. I got to rewatch it, but it's like biggest problem with that is just so long. But
well, yeah. Also, when you watched it though, you watched it like all in one sitting.
Yeah. Well, it's like back to back over like 2 months or whatever, 3 months, and it's just not healthy. So I definitely got to space that one out. Maybe like a season a month, something. But yeah, so good Superman content. I really, really hope they do a season 2, because you see like they set it up right. They have the right cliffhanger, but it's like they give you enough. It's like you're not dissatisfied, right?
Right.
So yeah, go watch it.